You know the history of the Christmas card? Before I tell you the history of the Christmas card, I have a few personal notes. I'm ending the season of painting my version of the traditional Christmas images by creating a box of holiday cards. Reproductions of the paintings on high quality cardstock with archival ink and craft envelope and a biodegradable clear sleeve for protection. All are fresh off the easel except for Santa. He was painted last year. A portrait of my brother-in-law Gary, my eldest sister's partner. It's so cool to have Santa as an ambassador in the family. His white hair and twinkly eyes and red button nose brings joy all the year through. Loves making kids smile and just enjoys having them walk away with the skip in their step and hope in their heart. As you put away your decorations and shop for those save for the next year deals, I was hoping you might consider buying a box of set or two of the holiday art cards on my new art card and print website. I've priced them at 35% off and free shipping over $55. All regular seascape and landscape cards continue to be 10% off, and when you buy 3 of anything, you get an additional 10% off. The link is in the description below. I painted these paintings this season in honor and remembrance of Isabel, the Abuelita of my children, who I lived with for the last 30 years of her life. It was a good life. She was an angel and a second mother to me. She passed away a couple years ago. She loved cards. As I sorted through her things, one category of saving was cards. Cards she received, cards she sent to the kids and me that I saved, cards we gave to her. She always loved Christmas cards. She gave them to her friends at work and the neighbors down the street. My mother loved cards too. Her collection, she passed away a couple of years ago also. Her collection is even more extensive than Isabel's. My mom and Isabel were friends and they got along so well. I like to think of them up there in heaven, carrying on from as they were, and with Dad. Always laughing. Isabel and Dad. Just the idea of it brings me joy. You know, at Christmas time it's hard for a lot of people. Memories, people that passed away or no longer with us, they're just hard family situations. Kind of try to take stock of your life, and it can be hard. I'm just glad I had these paintings to do, and it got me through. I hope whatever you're going through or went through, I hope your season and memorable moments, and that you're doing okay today. The musical instruments card, I think Isabel would have been especially pleased with. I painted that from a photo of hers. It was a Christmas card photo that I have cherished. It's been a labor of love, painting the traditional Puerto Rican images. I appreciate all the kind responses to the videos and the paintings, cards, etc. Isabel played the piano and she just loved music. The dancing children, inspired by my grandchildren, Sophia and Audrey. Sophia danced in school productions and her recitals. And I have this video of Audrey dancing at about 2 years old in our living room. And Isabel's clapping along and she says, "Look, mira, she's an artist." Isabel loved poinsettias. Each year I bought quite a few to line the walkway up to the house and on the patio next to her rocking chair. Poinsettia Card was also the first day of Christmas painting in my little video series on YouTube. Thanks for watching the daily videos I posted as I painted myself through this season. I started the series off with the visit by the Magi, another typical Puerto Rican Christmas card. Although We Three Kings is a favorite Christmas song in many traditions all over the world. These 3 wise men, Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar, grace the nativity sets of many homes in many nations, including our home that I grew up in. The medieval written legends report that one of the kings who paid homage to the Christ child in Bethlehem was from Africa. But you know, it would take nearly 1,000 years for European artists to begin representing him correctly in the Nativity. The name Gaspar comes from Persian and means something like treasure keeper or treasure. Gaspar is depicted in images as an African with dark skin color and presents myrrh as a gift. Myrrh is a symbol for humanity, and in some interpretations is also associated with the later suffering of Jesus. Melchior is a Jewish name and stands for King of Light. He has European characteristics and brings gold as a gift. Gold is considered the most precious commodity, worthy of a king, the Son of God. The name Balthasar also comes from the Hebrew and means God saved his life, or God will help. Translations of the name from ancient Syrian also read, God save the king. It's associated with an Asian origin. He carries incense, which is considered a divine symbol. The last painting that I painted was also of the Reyes Magos. It is the 12th day of Christmas painting, revealed on the day of Three Kings, as many call it. A huge celebration in Puerto Rico. Almost equals Christmas Day in festivities, celebration, family gatherings, gift giving, with all with plenty of music and plenty of food. In Puerto Rico, the town of Juana Diaz is known where the kings come from. Of course, on horseback, as there are no camels in Puerto Rico. That very small town on the south side of the island is where Isabel was born in 1915, and her family hails from. She left in 1931 or so to pursue her nursing education career in the San Juan area. 20 years before Isabel was born in 1884, the town of Juana Diaz celebrated its first Fiesta de Reyes. Since then, and for the 129 consecutive years, this little town has continued with the great splendor and celebration of this festivity, and the only one of its kind in Puerto Rico and America. Father Valentin Echevarria, a Spanish priest, is considered the founder. There are 2 museums in Juana Diaz devoted to the event. During the first week of the year, the 3 kings of Juana Diaz, in their colorful ancient robes and thick beards, go on tour in their traditional 3 Kings national caravan, visiting all the towns of Puerto Rico, bringing gifts to the children. As you know, this is a Christian holiday commemorating 3 wise men, as known as the 3 Kings, the biblical Magi, in Spanish, Los Tres Magos, who visited baby Jesus with offerings of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In Puerto Rico, the 3 Kings and art sculpture are not set aside after Christmas. The paintings, the wooden sculptures, artisan pieces can be seen on the walls of homes, museums, galleries. It's a national icon along with the flag and the coquilles, proudly exhibited all the year through. You can watch the 12 Days of Christmas videos that I made on my YouTube channel. This is the last one for more of the stories. But I was curious about Christmas cards and how they came to be a thing. It has been written down that Sir Henry Cole created the first Christmas card, originating in England in 1843. That winter, Sir Henry Cole helped organize the Victoria and Albert Museum, decided he was too busy to write individual Christmas greetings to his family and his friends and his business colleagues. So he asked his friend, the painter John Calcott Horsley, to design a card with an image and a brief greeting that he could mail instead. Horsley designed a triptych with 2 side panels depicting good deeds, clothing the naked and feeding the hungry, and in the center panel showing a family Christmas party. Remember, this was 1843. The inclusion of booze at this party got Cole and Horsley an earful from the British temperance movement. At the bottom of the center panel was an inscription, "Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you." The card was lithographed on a 5 by an 8 by 3 1/4 stiff cardboard in dark sepia and then colored by hand. An edition of 1,000 cards was printed and sold at Felix Summerley's Treasure House in London for $1 each. Of those cards, 12 exist today in private collections. including the one Cole sent his grandmother. According to an article in the Smithsonian magazine titled "The History of the Christmas Card," born out of having too little time, the holiday greeting boomed into major industry. It was published on December 9th, 2015. During the holiday season of 1843, it reads, those friends were causing Cole much anxiety. The problem were their letters. An old custom in England, the Christmas and New Year's letter, had received new impetus with the recent expansion of the British postal system. Yeah, this is the deal. And the introduction of the penny post, allowing a sender to send a letter or a card anywhere in the country by affixing a penny stamp to the correspondence. So you can guess what happened. Now everybody was sending letters. Sir Cole, best remembered today as the founder of the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, as I said, was an enthusiastic supporter of the new postal system. I'm sure everybody was. And he enjoyed being the 1840s equivalent of an A-lister. But he was a busy man. As he watched the stacks of unanswered correspondence, he fretted over what to do. In Victorian England, it was considered impolite not to answer mail, says Ace Collins, author of The Stories Behind the Great Traditions of Christmas. He had to figure out a way to respond to all of these people. Cole hit on an ingenious idea. As mentioned before, he approached an artist friend, J.C. Horsley, and asked him to design an idea that he had sketched out in his mind. Cole then took Horsley's illustration, as I mentioned before, the table flanked by the images of people helping the poor. It was the first Christmas card. Dun, 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 dun. Cole and Horsley get the credit for the first card. It took several decades for the Christmas card to really catch on, both in Great Britain and in the United States. Louis Prang created the first American Christmas cards at his Roxbury factory in 1874, using high-quality lithographs. Louis Prang was a Prussian immigrant with a shop near Boston. He is credited with, like I said, creating the first card in the United States in 1875 also. It was very different from Cole and Horsley's. It's reported both years. It was very different from Cole and Horsley's of 30 years prior. It didn't even contain a Christmas holiday image. The card was a painting of a flower, and it read, "Merry Christmas." A more artistic, subtle approach would categorize this first generation of American Christmas cards. They were vivid, beautiful reproductions, says Collins. They were very few nativity scenes or depictions of holiday celebrations. You were typically looking at animals, nature scenes that could have taken place anywhere in October or February, for that matter. Appreciation of the quality and artistry of the cards grew. In the late 1800s, spurred in part by the competitions organized by card publishers, with cash prizes offered for the best designs. People soon collected Christmas cards like they would butterflies or coins. And the new crop each season were reviewed in newspapers like books or films today. Interesting. In 1894, a prominent British arts writer, Gleason Wright, devoted an entire issue of his influential magazine, The Studio, to a study of the Christmas cards. While he found the varied designs interesting, he was not impressed by the written sentiments. He said, "It's obvious that for the sake of literature, no collection would be worth making," he sniffed. White's comments are included in the part of an online exhibit of Victorian Christmas cards from the Indiana Lilly Library. You can go to their website, Indiana University, and then search for it. It's in a link below. "In the manufacture of Christmas cards," wrote George Boudet in his 1968 book, The History of the Christmas Card, "we witnessed the emergence of a form of popular art, accommodated to the transitory conditions of society and its production." The modern card industry arguably began in 1915. Isabel was born that year, when a Kansas City-based fledgling postcard printing company, started by Joyce Hall, later to be joined by his brothers, Raleigh and William, published its first holiday card. The Hall Brothers Company, which a decade later changed its name to Hallmark, soon adapted a new format for the cards, 4 inches wide by 6 inches high, folded once, inserted into an envelope. That's the size I'm using. They discovered that people didn't have enough room to write everything they wanted to on a postcard, says Stephen Doyle, Vice President of Public Affairs for Hallmark. But they didn't want to write a whole letter either. In this new book format, which remains the industry standard, colorful Christmas cards with red suited Santas and brilliant stars of Bethlehem. I've got 2 of those. And cheerful, if soon cliched messages, no messages on mine, you can make your own, became enormously popular in the 1930s through the 50s. As hunger for cards grew, Hallmark and its competitors reached out to new ideas. Commissioning famous artists to design them was one way. Hence, the creation of cards by Salvador Dali and Grandma Moses and Norman Rockwell, who designed a series of Christmas cards for Hallmark. Yep, the Rockwell cards are still reprinted every 2 years. The Smithsonian Archives of American Art has a fascinating collection of more personal Christmas cards sent by artists, including Alexander Calder. Henry Cole's first card was a convenient way for him to speak to his many friends and associates without having to draft long, personalized responses to each. Yet, there are also accounts of Cole selling at least some of his cards for $1 apiece at his art gallery in London, possibly for charity. I join in carrying on the long tradition, art speaking about life in Christmas cards. I hope my simple paintings might brighten your day and spread kindness to you and whomever you may share them with, this season or any day of the year. Thanks for visiting and watching the short 1 to 3 minute video stories about this and that. Of course, this one's longer. However you can, take time to communicate with one another. You have the power to make someone's day a little brighter. We have the power to make someone's day a little brighter. Happy New Year.